It's Frank. Frank. Mr. Frank. I just want you to know, I think you're the best ever.
In your neighborhood, there's a place so good. It's so nice to be at a store meant for me. The feeling of family, you have to agree.
Wow, thanks, Fareway, Frank.
Welcome to Fareway, your Fareway family.
𝗀𝗃𝗃 Free the Machine Tour. Live at Wells Fargo Arena, Saturday, September 27th. One epic night of music that you won't want to miss with special guest Marcus King Band. Get tickets Friday, May 9th at 10 a.m. at 𝗙𝗵𝗃𝗃.com. His new album, Evangeline vs. the Machine, is out now. For more, visit 𝗀𝗃.
Spring has sprung in the great state of Iowa, and if you've been thinking about getting outdoors with your family during the best time of year, we want to help you here at Plaza RV. We are a locally owned RV dealer in Bondurant who cares about our customers before, during, and most importantly, after your purchase. Give us a chance. We will treat you like family. Buy local. Buy from Plaza RV.
Two guys, two Chris's, one network. Iowa everywhere. It's time for Two Guys with Chris Williams and Chris Hassel. Presented by Fareway Meat and Grocery from the Channel Seed Studios. Where? Everywhere. Live and always on demand at Iowa Everywhere.
Good morning. It is the 5th of May, 2025. Got a little Chris and Chris with you. Splash of Van Winks. It's Two Guys. Presented as always by Fareway Meat and Grocery.
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
I have a producer
It is Cinco de
who
Mayo.
is
Good call.
taking Cinco de Mayo off of work. He is taking a vacation day.
Little
He's
spicy
Jewish,
margaritas.
by the way. He's Jewish,
Oh,
Good
and
for
he's
him.
taking the day off.
Just to go and drink Coronas or like.
I don't think so. I mean, he's got like a 9-month-old baby at home. I don't know. They're going to dress him up in a mustache.
Ain't nobody going to the bar with a 9-month-old baby for Cinco de Mayo. Like that's something like somebody like Aiden's age would do.
I'm going to accost him tomorrow to figure out what he actually did and why the hell he did it.
I got a lot of problems with you people. And now, you're going to hear about them. We are presented by Fareway Meat and Grocery. We are in the Channel Seed Studios. Our guys from Channel, our girls from Channel, they are out spreading their seed all over the great state of Iowa. Most of that seed's probably been spread. Some of them big operators probably got more to do. Welcome to the show. Great to have you all. Going to do some mailbag stuff. We're going to do probably like half of like what would be considered a normal Monday show. And then we are going to do some mail stuff. And we got so many mail responses that we'll probably spread this out for a little bit, which is great. Because there's just not a lot of like substance right now. And we'll hit on the 𝗀𝗃𝗃 deal from yesterday. But these May shows, unless there's like real, like tangible, like player movement and stuff, Chris, it kind of turns into, well, this legislature may be doing this or right.
Well,
it can get, which is important stuff, but
that might actually become a big deal later on
Yes.
today. I know you were planning on hitting this, but
I'm going long on something here.
Just got the text from
Going long.
Randy Peterson. And Randy's been looking at the POTUS schedule for today, and it clearly says 1 p.m. Eastern, college sports announcement, Oval Office, followed by executive orders signed by the president.
Okay, can I just go long right now?
Yeah, I think we just jump right into this.
I'm going to go long with our friends from Wealth Charter, Retirement, and Tax. FYI, they are growing, and they're looking to add someone to their client service area at their offices in Ankeny. So if you're interested in that, Great locally owned company, really good people over there. Shout out to Tim, who's a big viewer of the program. Wealth Charter, Retirement, and Tax. This is what I was going to go long on today. So the Trump and Saban meeting over the weekend. So Donald Trump, he was the commencement speaker, I think, at Alabama, is how this worked. And so Saban has been very vocal on ESPN and even behind the scenes on, like, he doesn't like where all this is going, how this is moving. And I if you watch and listen to this show, we don't disagree.
Does
with that.
anyone like it other
no.
than maybe an 18-year-old player?
Here's what I'm going to go long on. And this is a bit contrarian, but hear me out. I don't know what President Trump is going to do. Clearly, Saban is in his ear. Saban would be a good person to listen to, I think, with all of his experiences in this. But I truly believe the toothpaste is out of the tube here as far as the professionalization of this. Like, we can't fight that anymore, in my opinion. Now, I don't think that Trump's going to, like, walk back that none of the players should ever get paid. I don't think that that's the area this is going. But I hear so much language that, like, we all want it to be like it was in 1995 again. And my point is, Chris, this is what I'm going long on. Like, we can't think that way. Like, we have to evolve with the time, because the second that anything would, there's going to be so many lawsuits, and just we have to think of these, like Iowa and Iowa State football, as professional sports. We just have to. Like, that's where we have to get our mindset. And then if something better happens, then great. Like, we can pivot to that. But, like, I don't think, whatever, I guess I don't understand an executive order either completely. Like, does that mean if President Trump comes out and says that the quarterbacks are no longer going to be, this would be extreme, this won't happen. But let's say he comes out and says no players can receive payment and it has to be back, and it was in 1985. Like, my point is, I don't think that could be the end of it, because there's going to be individual lawsuits just fired off, and we're going to be right back where we were. So we have to get our mindset going, like, these are pro sports. Like, this whole like kicking and screaming and, like, no. And that's why I've been saying, like, the state needs to fund it. Like, what do you want to do?
I don't think anybody's going to say, even Trump, that they're not going to be able to get paid. The way I understand it is,
I was using that as an extreme.
Who knows? I mean, I'm reading stuff from Saban. Who knows what Trump could do on his own? I don't know. But I think what Saban wants is there just to be, and what we've been asking for all along, some guardrails here.
Yeah.
Some uniformity. Like, each state needs to be the same. There needs to be, like, there's got to be a cap. And don't give me this shit about the 21 million being a cap. That's not going to be a cap. Because the football teams, the best football teams in the country, are spending between 40 and 50 million on their roster this upcoming season. And that's part of the argument that you're making, that the toothpaste is out of the tube. But it's not sustainable. So something has to happen. And I
agree with you.
I don't know, short of actual lawmakers getting involved, I don't know how we do stop this runaway freight train from destroying the entire sport.
You're right. The lawmakers have to get involved. Like, that's the only way that this thing stops, because if it ends in the courts, everybody's going to go bankrupt, and Jack Trice Stadium and Kinnick Stadium will be empty someday. I mean, that's just the reality of it. They can't afford to pay back all these back damages and stuff like that. So there has to be something happen. My challenge to everybody, I've just been thinking about this so much, is we have to stop, like, as fans. Not saying like you and me. I'm saying just as college sports fans, we have to stop longing for 1995, because it's never going to be that again. We have to get it into our head. And, like, I'm outraged by some of the comments that I have heard from behind the scenes, and even had conversations with state legislatures about this, where it's like, oh, we got more important stuff to worry about than college athletic. Do you? Take that shit away from our local economy. Take Iowa football and Iowa State football away from our local economy and tell me that you, like, it's not life or death, but it impacts a hell of a lot of people and businesses across our state, and hotels and restaurants.
I don't think they realize how this could kill I'm trying to think of the right word for it, but the major brands that we have in college football and college basketball.
Look at what pro sports do to keep their franchises in, like what the states and cities do
I've
to
always
keep pro
thought
franchises.
Of Iowa and Iowa State as the two professional sports programs in Iowa. We don't have a Minneapolis or a Kansas City or a St. Louis or a Chicago or a Milwaukee like all this other surrounding states do. It's just the same thing in Nebraska. They've got the Nebraska football. That is their professional team. I don't think that many people would be upset if, we don't go back to 95. That's a pipe dream. We don't go back to 2005. That's a pipe dream. But how about just going back to like 2022 or 3? Because 2025 right now looks nothing like 23. It doesn't. You're talking about, remember when we first heard that like Quinn Ewers was going to make close to $1 million? Oh
yeah.
When we first heard that,
God.
That Bryce Young, he's making 7 figures. Wow. Last year, Ohio State, they spent $20 million on their football team. Now there's men's basketball teams that are almost spending that much. That are spending that much.
Iowa State was in on a portal kid who they normally would have gotten. I won't say his name. It doesn't matter. But a guy who they normally would have gotten because of relationships. This was like the first or second year of this. And I remember hearing, oh, my God, he just got paid $250,000 to go to that program in the ACC. We can't keep up with that.
And we're
like
talking
right
just
now, you're getting like a
years ago
12th man for that.
Peter asks, why is the default that lawmakers need to get involved? The entire mess is due to the antitrust laws to begin with. I think it's because there's no leadership whatsoever. Like somebody needs to step up and lead and make some damn rules.
And this is why, Peter, I've been saying on the show for 2 weeks now that they deserve this now at this point, because nobody within college athletics, they all just care about themselves. The schools care about themselves. The conferences care about themselves. Nobody cares about the greater whole. And they've all done this for 30 years. And now they're at the point where the only way to fix anything is the heavy hand of the United States government. Unfortunately, we're not saying it's the best way.
Yeah,
my point is that
definitely not the best way.
If they would have had actual people in college athletics figure this out 30 years ago, it wouldn't have been a problem.
Yeah, if they could have stopped the commissioners and the athletic directors from
Greed.
being more important overall and being more powerful than the actual NCAA entity. And who knows? Maybe they come in and try to do this, and then this just sets off a complete earthquake. And the bigger programs say, all right, well, we're going to have to do something else, and we're just going to go take our ball and go home, just the 30 of us or whatever.
I want to comment on one of these. 𝗀𝗎𝗋. Sports is entertainment. Keep it in perspective. College tuition is high. Student debt is at $1.3 trillion. Yeah, you know what will make college tuition even higher? Is if you get rid of these sports within Iowa and Iowa State University. You know what the number one driver in the United States of America of enrollment is? A good college football team.
Yeah.
It's a God's honest truth. And you want to talk about the $1.3 trillion, that isn't the college football team's problem. In fact, lose. Look, if you're Iowa State, what is your enrollment at now? Matt, you probably know that. What, 32,000-ish? Let's say it drops to 25, and now you've got this bloated campus to take care of 32. Your enrollment's going to go. Like, right? Like this is an economics conversation. It's not a sports conversation. Get that out of your head, people. We're not talking about sports. We're talking about all the hotels and restaurants and all up in Ames and Iowa City. We're talking about when you walk into Shields and you see Iowa, like take all that away. It's a major economic problem that our state is facing, but everybody's too bullheaded to look at it that way because we have a problem in this state too because the tribalism in our state, right? Like I guarantee you there are people in the legislature in our state who are like a Cyclone or a Hawkeye, and they don't want to do anything to help the other one out. I guarantee you that's a thing.
Yeah, but you got to help each other out.
Yes, because Sorry, this just
Well, and some
makes
of this
me-
ties back
Nobody
to
works together.
the whole thing with Jamie Pollard, his comments from last week that came out in that interview with that student at Iowa State about like, oh, well, we're going to be able to cover, the $20 million for the next 2 years in our reserves. But after that, we're going to need state help, or the money's going to need to come from somewhere, right? Think
He
of all the
referenced Virginia Tech, according to Jamie. I hadn't seen this, but in that interview on that podcast with that Iowa State student, and I'm sorry I don't remember the name of the pod, but he said that Virginia Tech is upping tuition so that they can make the $20 million from the tuition. And he was saying that that's the last thing he wants to do at Iowa State, but they're going to have to figure out ways. But Williams, if this is some big announcement today regarding college sports from the White House, what in a perfect world would you want to hear?
Oh, God. Talk about put me on the spot. I'm so skeptical. I don't think that one executive order from President Trump is going to fix anything. We're talking like 3 to 4 decades into a problem here. Like, I don't think that you can just snap your finger and fix this problem.
I think part of it too,
Do you?
It's not just the NIL, it's also they really want some harsher restrictions on the transfer portal.
Yes.
And the transferring. And I think that would be a great thing as well.
I
Like,
would.
we need
and
that.
But
we
then
need that. It's ridiculous what's going on with the transfer portal.
I
right now.
agree, but I'm telling you what the opposition will do. Well, the coaches can do it. Like, that's where it's going to come. And
Yeah,
if
but
we're
the
all
coaches can't take a job, not do anything, make money, and then leave and keep that money.
Yeah, no, you're right. Like, there's got to the one thing I would love to see, and I don't think Trump can really do this, is there's got to be like a players organization.
Yeah.
Like, I know union's a buzzword, but like there's got to be some sort of like collective like that represents and you have to make them employees if you're going to go down this route, which I don't think Trump's going to do. Like, that's not the conservative way of looking at this.
By the way, thanks, Matt. The name of the podcast is Spotlight with Elijah Moore. It was pretty good. I listened to the whole hour-long conversation between Elijah and Jamie Pollard, and as usual, Jamie was straightforward about a lot of things, and it's mostly about this sort of stuff. That's what it was. At least 30 minutes was about this future of NIL, and Elijah's a student, so he was coming at it from like a different perspective. I think his eyes might have been opened a little bit, thinking that this was just all a good thing. Like, how could it possibly be bad that these students are making this money? And don't get me wrong, I think that these football players, men's basketball players, women's basketball players, and maybe a handful of others should be making some money. But I mean, the BYU kid making $7 million next year to play men's basketball. The guy who might be the 4th best player on your basketball team getting $1.5 million. Like, that's, you can say it's what the market dictates. Yeah, right now. But it's not sustainable because we're shaking down fans for money.
And this is what drives me the most crazy in the whole argument is I'm just saying people in general just refer to everything as NIL. It's not.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah. It stopped being NIL a long time ago.
The Cavender twins and Livy Dunn, that's NIL.
Yeah.
Like, that is right?
Yeah, Livy Dunn, like getting the sponsorships with, what is it, Viore?
Yeah, that's NIL.
Yeah.
The 9th player on the Iowa State basketball roster is not NIL.
And
it's pay to play. And that's okay.
And I even,
let's just be real about it.
I even hesitate to call it pay for play because some of these people, you're not getting paid to play. You're getting paid to come attend the school. Some of these guys never even play. Like, who is the Yesufu, who got reportedly close to $1 million just
Yeah,
to sit on Kansas's bench that one season when they
He
won
got
the
paid
title.
handsomely.
Yeah,
to
he
do
didn't
that.
play.
Yeah.
It's not pay to play. It's pay to be on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
Pay to attend. Do they have to go to classes? I don't even know. I know some places are different than others, but we are way closer to.
And should they have to go to classes would be my question. Like,
Yeah, if you're making that kind of money.
I mean, if you're an employee,
which they should be, I think that's what it should be. Is it in these sports,
your
college
job
football, men's basketball, you should be an employee.
I mean, listen, I'm not encouraging that. I think a bad thing would be if all of a sudden, like, there's no tie to these universities. I don't want to do like the club sports thing. Like, I don't want to do that. I want it to be Iowa State University's football team. Like, find a way to be able to do that. But like, if you're getting paid $1 million to go there and play football, like, should you really be up until 1 a.m. studying for your biology final the next day? Like, I give them the option, but their job is to play football and win at this point. That's what they're there for. Like, should you force them to?
They really are. That's their job,
right? Like, I don't know, but they certainly. And it's not. This isn't a blanket statement. Many of these student athletes go to school. They want the degree, and you should give them the option. But should they be forced to? I don't know. I don't know. I would love to see a world in which that is still a thing. When's the last time? Think about this. We used to hear this all the time. When's the last time you've heard of a player being academically ineligible to play?
It's been years.
Yeah. Doesn't happen anymore, does it?
No, I mean, it used to be there were a handful of
You heard it all
guys
the
from
time.
every team that
you always knew when
he's not
second
going to be able to play in the
semester
bowl game.
in basketball, when second semester hit and a guy would miss like 3 games, it was because his report card sucked.
And you're telling me that now that they're making millions of dollars, that all of a sudden they're all better at school, getting better
Maybe
grades?
that's happening and I don't know about it, but I've reported on these teams for 20 years and I don't remember one in the last 3 to 4 years.
And honestly, I don't care. At the level we're talking about, if we're talking Iowa college football, Iowa State college basketball, I do not care if these people are attending class. I don't give a damn. All I care about is watching them play.
Hey, can I point out one thing too real quick? And that as much as I respect Nick Saban, and by the way, he was fantastic on the NFL draft coverage. Like, I think he's really good. Obviously, he's very smart. This guy's got a little bit of a hypocrite in him too, because this guy didn't care about any of this stuff when all the rules favored Alabama and they could just go out there and just rip people off and just, take these and then all of a sudden the rules shifted. And because Bama doesn't have like this rich, they have a ton of fans. They don't have these like rich donors like a lot of these other SEC schools. And then all of a sudden Saban is outraged by all this. So it's like there's a little bit of me that's like, okay, like as I saw Peterson says in the comments that he wants to make Saban a new office that deals. I don't know about that. I just don't know he should be a consultant. But I'm telling you, if we leave it to Trump and Nick Saban to figure this out, you think that lawsuits aren't coming? Like, because you can't this is my whole point. You can't just say we're going back to 95. It won't work. You've got to find a way to bring this has to be bipartisan, I guess. You have to bring the lawyers into it. You have to bring the players into it. This cannot be.
And I think it
the
has to be
old white guys with
bipartisan,
an iron
and
fist.
it needs to have somebody from, each conference, really, like a mix of, it can't just be like, oh, it's all these SEC guys that are making these, in Trump's ear, getting him to do what they want, and not have Big 12, ACC, Big 10, and even the really little guys, the Sun Belt and all. Like, I think everybody it should have happened within the NCAA. It didn't. But now we're stuck with this. I don't know. I don't know what the hell he's going to say at 1 o'clock. Or I guess it's noon your time.
What a time to be alive. And this is the most Trump thing ever, too, isn't it? Saban gets in his ear on Saturday, and he's got an announcement made for Monday.
Part of me kind of loves how, like, this is how you envision the presidency when you're a kid. You know, well, you're the president. You can do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, God damn it.
But then you're taught, like, no, it's really, for a while there, it was like, yeah, the president really doesn't have that much power.
Yeah,
I mean,
they got just Congress to go through, and there's like this court, and like,
look, maybe this gets us back on the right path. I don't know. I'm keeping an open mind, but I'm not holding my breath. I'm not thinking that this is going to change everything.
I'm telling you what it can't be, and this was my going long before I even knew about this announcement today. This can't be the two guys in their late 70s and 80s dictating to a bunch of 18 and 19-year-olds, like, now you can't make any money. Like, that won't work.
And God, it better. I don't think it'll be that, but it better not be that. Like,
I
they
don't
still
think
deserve,
it will either. Like,
they still deserve some of this chunk. But
Saban, from what I've heard, values real NIL, which I think we all do. That's the whole point. It was so ridiculous that 10 years ago these athletes couldn't capitalize on that.
Yeah.
Think about that. It's insane that we were keeping them from doing
and
that.
all
and
these
that's why
athletic
you're in this
departments
spot.
with just God knows how much money stored away. I mean, you're doing ridiculous things to locker rooms because you just don't know what to do with all the money you're making because you didn't have to pay anybody. Like, I really do not feel bad for these athletic departments.
No.
But what needs to happen is they need to stop letting the universities, like, stand on their shoulders. Why are they looked at the same way? Like, the Iowa State Athletic Department brings in a lot of money and is, I think, more valuable than the university itself. So why shouldn't that university also help out the athletic department? That athletic department has helped you tenfold over the years. Help them out.
Go back 100 years, though, and this is what's interesting about this debate. And I don't think you're wrong. When these athletic departments started to grow, like in the mid 80s, because of television, they had been propped up over the years because you were the basketball team from the University of Iowa, right? Like that's how it started. So like they needed that for the start, and then now it's in this other shift where the athletic department's bringing in all this money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now it's got to go the other way. These universities should absolutely be supporting athletics. The state should be supporting athletics via hotel taxes or gambling taxes or whatever. These very smart people, and I do believe they are smart people, but the problem is people often can't get out of their own way, right? Especially when you get politics involved, where half of them are bought and paid for anyways in our country. So it's really challenging. But again, like, if you're gonna do it like the way where, like, it can't just be Trump and Saban or these 80-year-old rich billionaires yelling at 19-year-old African American kids. Like, it can't be seen that way. It will blow up. But I hope it's a good start. You know, I do. Like, I'm hopeful that this is at least a start to scare these suits into doing the right thing. I think they're trying to do the right thing, but I think their predecessors dug them in so deep of a hole that it's almost impossible to get out of. And that's why I say it's like, you can't snap your fingers and go back to 1995. It just won't work. And our state needs to wake the hell up and find a way to make Iowa and Iowa State football as competitive as possible. Our state needs to wake the hell up and figure out a way. These are pro sports people. These are not your collegiate football team anymore. Wake up. What,
Just
Maddie?
got some intel that the Trump announcement might not be about NIL. Apparently, he might be announcing something about the NFL.
Yeah, but it says college sports announcement.
Does it? I think it just said sports. Let me double check. Roll call. Hang on. President Trump delivers a sports announcement is all it says.
A sport. Yeah, the draft is going to D.C., and that, I'm sure, is going to be part of this. And if this is not any kind of NIL announcement, believe me, something is happening.
Yeah, Saban,
and
man.
will happen.
Very persuasive man. He's been recruiting Trump.
Just might not happen as fast as we thought it might. But look, I'm all for people trying to get this thing on the right track, because that's what you're trying to do now. We are so far
I agree.
out in left field. We gotta have it first before we start really trying to fix everything. Get us on the right track, because we are running away. The freight train is gone. It's down the hill. It's heading down the Grand Canyon. Look how much worse this has gotten in just 1-2 years. What is this going to look like 2 years from now? And where is this judge on this ruling? What is going on?
I'm going to disagree with another man. This man I'm debating with in the comments. I'm going to fire back at you.
Are you going back at the 𝗙𝗵𝗹𝗃𝗄𝗵𝗶 𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗃?
He says, seems to be politically biased. Pro sports are a business not funded by tax dollars. NCAA is funded. Bullshit. What do you think that these stadiums across the country, who do you think's funding them? It's the taxpayers. It absolutely is. It may not be state funded, but it's municipally funded. Like that, and that's what this is. These are state. This isn't the Minneapolis, Minnesota Vikings we're talking about here. Like Minneapolis paid to keep. Have you been pay attention to what's going on in Kansas City right now with the Royals? These are all taxpayer funded. Don't give me that. You think that these owners of these NBA and NFL teams are putting up billions to build these brand? Hell no, because these cities realize the economic value that pro sports bring to them. It's all about money.
Yes.
All right.
We thought we wouldn't have anything to talk about today.
No, well, you get Trump and Saban talking NIL, and wild things happen. We want to prevent wild things from happening to you on your summer road trip. It's why you need to run off to Freedom Tire. Locations all over the Des Moines metro. Just get your car, get your truck, get it serviced from here from now on. And then when you need some tires, you can buy your tires from them. Great people. They support us here on Iowa Everywhere. Want to give a shout out as well to our friends over at the Iowa Event Center. Really fun weekend with the WWE and the UFC in town. Love it. Absolutely had a great time on. Well, this was going to be my 𝗙𝗵𝗶, actually. Let's just get into it, shall we? Let's do the 𝗙𝗵𝗶 Kelderman Manufacturing.
Bigger, better, bolder. Built by Kelderman Manufacturing.
No, I was at UFC Saturday night, and man, there were so many listeners of the show and viewers. I keep saying listeners because I'm old school like that, but really felt like this thing is taking on a new level, that being Iowa Everywhere. So I just wanted to thank everybody. That was a fun event. The fights weren't great, but the UFC and Wells Fargo Arena did a great job. It looked awesome being in there, and it's kind of a dream come true for a fight fan to see a big card like that in Des Moines. So I just wanted to thank everybody who came up and did that. Give a shout out to the UFC and Wells Fargo as well.
Yeah,
what do you
good.
got, Hassel?
I am going to go with Stanley Cup playoff Game 7s. Holy shit. Did you see what happened in the 2 Game 7s over the weekend?
That Dallas comeback was insane.
I didn't watch any of it, but I heard about it. Yeah.
Insane.
So starting on Saturday, Van Wilk references the Dallas Stars, who were down 2-0 going to the third period to the Avalanche. And then an avalanche of goals. 4 straight goals by Dallas at home to come back and win that series. And, I mean, some of the goals were late. I mean, they tied it with about 6 minutes left. They went ahead with 4 minutes left and then an empty netter. That was awesome. And then to see who would play the Stars in the next round, you had the Jets and the Blues last night in Winnipeg. And Winnipeg has just been starved for a good team. This year they win the President's Trophy, and they are in big trouble late. They're also down 2 in the third. They're down 2 with 2 minutes to go in the third. They get a goal with 2 minutes left, and then the latest Game 7 tying goal of all time with under 2 seconds
Good
to
pull.
go.
Latest ever, huh?
And then it goes double overtime, and they win it.
Wow.
I watched it. I stayed up. I was up until
Look
like
at you.
11:30 watching it.
Good for
that
you.
Stuff. And I mean, the thing about hockey is Game 7s always seem to deliver. It never seems to happen in the NBA. There was a dueling Game 7 in the NBA last night, and I was hardly watching. It was the Warriors and Rockets, and the Warriors ended up winning 103-89. The Rockets just never really got within 5 points. It was the same thing the day before with the Clippers and Nuggets. The Nuggets destroyed the Clippers. Hockey always comes through in these
I
Game
wish
7s.
I liked hockey more.
I do too. I wish I was gaga about a team.
I just don't have time to add anything else to care about to my life, right? Like
Yeah,
I already
you
watch
don't
like
have much
dirt
time.
track racing and like, like I basically have all but cut out the NBA. I hardly ever, like I'll flip it on if Halliburton or Niang or, like.
Halliburton had another huge game.
Mm-hmm.
They beat the Cavs, the top-seeded Cavs yesterday in Game 1. Halliburton was great in the fourth quarter again.
But yeah, I really think I would enjoy hockey, but I can't. I tried to commit to a European soccer thing during COVID, and I just fell off of that. Right, I don't care. Like I have no passion for that. Hockey
It's
seems
tough
fun.
if you don't grow up with it. It's
Yeah.
tough to build that love.
Matty Van Winks, bigger, better, bolder.
Still no contract for Purdy.
No, we're still waiting on that contract. But you know when it's coming, I'll be all over that for my Triple B. I'm going to give a shout out to the Iowa State softball team. I went up to Ames yesterday to check out this elite program.
Didn't they get their ass kicked by Iowa last week?
Yeah, who cares? They already won
What?
the Cy-Yox series. Let me talk, please. Stop walking over my Triple B. Iowa State softball just wrapped up their best regular season ever in program history. 30 wins, third place in the Big 12.
Do you know how hard that is to do in like a northern post
Yes.
like Ames?
They get
Anytime like these baseball and softball teams do well up here, it's a really impressive feat.
They get a first round bye in the Big 12 tournament in Oklahoma City, so it's incredible.
When does the tournament start?
May 7th, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I was listening to the broadcast on the way home. I didn't stay for the whole game, but they were saying that Iowa State could be an at-large for the NCAA tournament.
That'd be
Appel's
really cool.
World Series, so that could be cool. Or regional, I
think
guess.
Iowa beat them like 6-0 last week.
Yeah, but they
Luke
beat them
says
in
that
Ames,
they
too.
split this year, so you just need to calm down. Is that Iowa team still disrespecting the flag every chance it gets?
Yeah, maybe Trump has an announcement about that.
That's the only thing we've talked about this year. Is I remember that was like a story, and I hadn't heard how that.
It
Yeah,
was
they're-
crazy. Like the softball coach had to take a leave of absence, so they got this interim coach in there, and then the girls start kneeling. Some of them do, and then the guy tries to get them to stop kneeling, and then he gets fired or resigned.
He was like mad about it.
He was like a
or-
Green Beret or something like that.
Yeah,
or like
he was a veteran.
What
Yeah,
a mess. But they put it together. They just beat the greatest Cyclone softball team of all time.
They split this year, and Iowa State still won the
Dude,
Cy-Yox series.
It's funny. We were just talking about hockey. Really good softball is an awesome sport to watch. Like
It's
really
great.
high level softball is so much fun. It's
I
so
had to take-
fast.
I agree. It's easier to watch. I found this out when I was covering local high school softball and baseball in Des Moines. It's an easier game to watch because there's more action. I'm talking than baseball. There's more action and the field is smaller.
Yes.
So it's just a lot more enjoyable to see.
And you only need like two good pitchers. Like in baseball,
Yeah.
like there's just not good enough pitchers for most of these teams to have. Well, at least where I grew up, like you get to like the third and fourth arm on a 1A school, and it sucks, man. Like you got walks and like just games are in the teens. Like softball's great.
Williams at least needs to watch this. Angelina Allen, senior for Iowa State, parked a home run on senior night yesterday.
Nice.
Lefty.
So you took your family up to this softball
Yes.
game.
Yeah, I had to go see what this elite program was all about. I heard all
You know
this
what I
chatter
do
and-
like about this, and I don't know if Iowa. I know the Iowa baseball team plays on like an AstroTurf fake dirt. I don't know if the softball team does too, but I'm seeing real dirt there. That's
Yeah, I
real
mean,
dirt.
come on, you know how the
It's an
Iowa
ag
State
school.
University, real grass, dirt, we do it all. Okay.
We're
Game
40
Day Men's
minutes
Health.
in, and we still have not.
We're going to the mailbag right now because the mailbag's going to be presented by Game Day Men's Health. Why not?
Okay.
Shout out to our friends at Game Day Men's Health. We had a guy text me yesterday. He saw a Game Day Men's Health truck in Phoenix yesterday, just driving around. It's nationwide, but we would
Mobile
encourage
tea. They did mobile.
Yeah,
mobile
they just
tea
walk
shots.
around. You need some tea. You need some tea. They'll drive right up to you and just stick it right there for you. Get you ready to go. All right. Well, mailbag, Maddie. I'll let you start. We'll go 20 minutes here.
All right, so let's get down to it. Real serious question to begin with. What happened with the kid in Oreos, the Oreo pubes kid? What's he doing now, Hassel? Do you know?
It's a good one.
He was a successful high school and college graduate, and is now a very successful father of, I believe, 3,
Wow.
with a
Little boys?
long marriage. I do believe there are some boys in there. They're probably reaching the Oreo pube age.
That's what I was saying. Are they?
So I don't know
are
if
you
he's
concerned?
passed this down, but yes, he a very smart kid, and very successful career. I believe he's living in the Cedar Rapids area.
What's his name?
Nah, no name,
No names. No names.
just the pube kid,
Don't name names.
Oreo pube kid.
Name.
All right, this one's somewhat related to what we were talking about earlier. Eric's wondering how will the 2025-26 athlete payroll at Iowa and Iowa State be divided up between football, men's basketball, and other sports?
They've talked
do you
about
think?
that quite a bit as it pertains to Iowa on Legends and Listeners, and I want to say, if you get, let's just make it an even 20 million, okay? Football is going to get like 14 million of that. Men's basketball, 4 million, and then women's basketball 2 million is I would say roughly that's where it's going to come down.
The Iowa State split, I think, would be similar, probably less for women's basketball, a little more for men's basketball, and a little less for football. Pollard did say, and I have heard this behind the scenes, that he's planning on using those reserve funds. So they're going to be closer to it.
Yeah, he mentioned reserve.
Well, they've done a really good job. He needs to be, for all the people who bitch about Pollard all the time, commended for building up this reserve of athletic department funds that they've just kind of had savings over the years for like a doomsday type scenario.
But I didn't think you could save anything. I thought since you were nonprofit, like you had to spend all the money.
There's the way, again, above my pay grade, there is some way of
Okay, well that's good
categorizing that. Yeah.
Is it through like a Cyclone Club donation? Something that they can take donations that they don't.
Some
come
were
from
worried
their-
that Iowa State wasn't even going to be able to reach this.
Well,
this
they
20
weren't.
million.
They weren't without this. They weren't going to.
But you have to. Everybody has to.
Yeah, and I think Pollard finally realized that.
Every
and-
power
and said,
program has to
okay.
do this.
And I also think they realized too, and this is the biggest thing, like with Iowa State, that if you're not maxing out, what message are you giving to your coaches and fans?
It's basically waving the white flag.
Yeah, and that again, like I've been saying this too much, but if you're going to turn into the Kansas City Royals in the '90s, where your payroll's at 10 million and you're going up against people who are spending 100 million, and why would your fans buy season tickets? Because they know they don't have a chance. Like, it's less about, again, it's less about, I went to Iowa State University and got a degree there and met my wife there, and we have to think about it more like pro sports going forward, like it or not. You evolve or you die.
Agree. Next question.
All right. Another silly one from a legendary commenter, all gas, no breakfast. Does Don Hassel wear his shoes to bed? What about in the shower? Do we know?
Yeah, because I don't. Anytime I see him, he's in shoes. In fact, when he came to visit,
My dad does the same.
Does he
thing.
wear Crocs?
We have this. No, he doesn't have. He didn't. He had never owned a pair of sandals until I told him to buy sandals for his trip to Delray. And so he puts on these sandals, and we go to the beach. And he refuses to take his sandals off on the sand. So we're walking up and down the beach. He's wearing these sandals that he's never worn before. He says the sand is too hot on my feet. I can't take them off. So then what happens? He can't walk back to the car because he gets blisters all over his feet from wearing these sandals. Then he comes home. We have a pretty strict rule here. My wife, you take your shoes off when you come.
Yeah,
in.
my wife has that rule too. My dad doesn't like to follow it.
And so my dad, he comes in, he's wearing his stupid shoes, trouncing all over the house. And I'm like, take your shoes off. He's like, I can't. It's that plantar fasciitis. He's got this plantar fasciitis where he claims that his doctor says he has to wear shoes at all times.
Because he needs the support.
I don't know. What the hell? You have to wear shoes when you're laying up on a recliner.
Did your dad, by chance, have a love affair with a Korean woman back during the war?
What was it? Because it was a foot odor smell.
Oh man.
So yeah, short answer to this, I think he probably at times wears his shoes to bed because he claims that his feet feel better when he has shoes on. If he could just like
how is that
have
even
his
possible?
lower legs amputated and just have like a foot with a shoe just embedded in it, just stuck.
Do you want to know?
He
Have I
would
ever
do
told you about one of my greatest day-to-day fears is like if we're at a pool and there's like and you're walking around barefoot, you know,
Mhm.
and you can see like other people's hair, like stepping on a wet hair absolutely makes me panic inside. Like I will not go to like a public restroom at a pool without putting my sandals on because I can't, just even thinking about walking around on wet. But if it's dry, it doesn't bother me. If it's dry, it doesn't bother me. I can walk around
It's
barefoot.
really
dry.
disgusting if you are stuck in a situation where you're in a public place, public pool or beach, and you have to walk into that wet floor restroom that is like mixed with sand and pubes and
urine.
piss.
Some kid took a shit there.
Disgusting. That is disgusting. I'm with you on that.
But even walking around like the ridge of the pool,
I'm fine with like.
I won't even go to the Adventureland pool anymore. I won't even.
Yeah, but
go.
you're talking public pool. Yeah, you need to build a pool with your bare hands like I did, and have a
that
little
wouldn't
private
bother me.
oasis.
When I take my kids to your pool here coming up, that won't bother me at all.
Next question.
All right, back to some sports. CW. We've heard Hassel believes Iowa is going to the playoffs, but realists know with that schedule, they'll struggle to win 7 games. What's your over/under on the Hawkeyes? I know it's a little early to do that, but let's just
pull up the Iowa schedule.
I got it right here.
So we can look at this.
Just slide it over here.
So he says 7. He said they'll struggle to win 7.
Struggle to win. Yeah, let's pull up the comment. one more
Schedule
time.
is a lot tougher
Struggle to
than
win
it has
7.
been. It is.
Iowa State's is too. I was looking at that deep dive last night. Okay, you're at to zoom in on that a little bit, Maddie.
Yep.
I can't read that. I'm old.
So they start with Albany. That's a win.
Yeah.
At Iowa State.
So
Toss up.
it's a top. Nobody's talked about this enough. Iowa State's first 3 games were brutal.
Hey, we're talking about Iowa.
No, listen to me. They might have Iowa State in a soft spot, is what I'm telling you.
Oh, okay.
Because they have to start in Ireland, and then they play the next week. Usually you get a week off. They play the next week against a top 5 FCS team. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
and then they get Iowa. So, like, that is a deal where Iowa should have a significant advantage as far as, like, depth chart and, like, injuries and rest.
Excuses are already starting. Okay,
No,
so that's 2 wins.
I'm an analyst,
Though
damn it.
Iowa will beat the beleaguered Iowa State on September 6th.
I don't know why you have to be a dick about it. I'm trying to have a thoughtful conversation.
So then they have
All right,
UMass.
I got you guys losing to UMass.
Hang on. No, you don't. So that's 3 wins. So 3-0 at Rutgers.
2-1.
Stop it.
Is Gronowski even going to have an arm when he comes to Ames? Like, do we know?
Yeah, do we even know who
he's
your
throwing.
quarterback? But
Okay.
they lied to us about it when they signed him. How do you know they're not
but
lying
he's
now?
throwing. 𝗙ście𝗋𝗃𝗃 said he was throwing like he was like 150 mile an hour spirals at that spring day. So it's Rutgers. That should be a win. At home against Indiana. Look, I know what they were last year.
Yeah,
I don't expect them to be
trust them
that
to be-
this year. I think that's a win.
I would put a win for that.
So I'm at 5-0 at Wisconsin.
Loss.
I'm gonna just I don't know how good Wisconsin will be. So then they come home. Wow, 3 straight home games. Penn State, Minnesota, and just keep scrolling down. Oregon with a bye week between Minnesota and Oregon.
There'll be a dog to Penn State.
And Oregon.
Yeah.
So you're looking at just somehow win 2 of those games. What do we have him at going into this? I'm going to say
5-1 going into Penn State.
I'm going to say they win 2 of those games. So 7-2.
I have them at 6-3 there.
At USC, I'm just going to
That's
say
a loss.
7-3
6-4
versus Michigan State win. So I've got them at 8 wins. You've got them at 7. And then at Nebraska.
So you're right around 7-8.
Yeah. What is the number? 7.5, I would think.
I would guess it's 7.5. I don't know where the juice is, but this is a schedule where if you win 10 games, you are in the dance. If you win 9 games,
I'm worried about your defense more than
I am too.
Yeah.
But if you win 9 games, depending on where your wins and losses are, 9 games could also get you into the dance. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to go to the college football playoff. I was kidding last week when I said that they were going to go to the playoff in football. They're
One
going to go
thing
to the
I've
Final
learned
Four
is-
in men's basketball.
these fans will take anything and run with it to make us look bad according to their worldview.
Right now I would have Iowa winning 8 games most likely, and with a ceiling of maybe 9. All right, next question.
All right, back to some fun. Is there any chance of a Seinfeld trivia showdown between Hassel, Williams, Murph, and Andy, and even Aiden Wyatt?
Yes, but how do we do it? Like, that's the question. Thanks for the question, Luke. I don't know how
it might be pre-recorded.
And what I would like to do is sometime when you're back, we could do it. Maddie, you would have to be integral in this, where we could set it up like in my basement or like in Fail's basement, bars or something like that.
Like a bar stool type.
And we do a different type of production for it.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, like a trivia thing. That would be great.
It'd be fun to get some of our listeners involved in that too somehow. At some point, I could see an opportunity for that. You guys did the
names.
You guys did the Seinfeld holiday episode, didn't
Dude,
you?
that thing went crazy with viewership. People love
that was
that
fun.
show.
If you want to go back, that's kind of an evergreen podcast, isn't it?
Yeah. Been talking about doing that one for a long time.
All right.
He named names.
We know Hassel's slobbering all over McCollum, but besides him, who does Hassel think was Iowa's best basketball coach? Did I say basketball like Caitlin Clark? Basketball.
Caitlin says basketball.
We haven't even talked about Caitlin, by the way. We should
Oh my God!
touch on that just a pinch.
Best basketball coach for Iowa. Well, I'm just gonna go.
Olson.
I'm just gonna go in my lifetime, like what I've
okay.
been watching. I've seen Tom Davis. I've seen Steve Alford, Todd Lickliter, and Fran McCaffrey. It's without a doubt Tom Davis.
Okay, I agree with you. Wouldn't Lute Olson just be but he didn't win the championships at Iowa.
I don't ever remember watching Iowa basketball with Lute Olson.
Neither do I.
I'm just saying in my lifetime. But yeah, overall, Lute Olson. I don't know. I know Raveling had some success, but I would say Lute Olson is probably.
I mean, just because of the
#1 Iowa
national
coach.
championships would be the.
Huh?
He won national championships at Arizona.
He won 1.
Oh, I thought he won 2 for
I
some
don't think
reason.
so.
I
But
thought Bibby and
what the hell
Simon.
does that have to do with Iowa?
No, I'm just saying, like, the best overall coach, or is the best coach at Iowa?
My dad says it's Ralph Miller by fat. What the hell does that mean?
By far.
Oh, God.
Hey, put some respect on Iowa's most winningest head coach,
Yeah.
Brandon McCaffrey.
I was
All right.
interested to see if Connor would show up yesterday to Caitlin's big game.
Was he
And
not there?
I don't think he was. I didn't see anything. I didn't see any of him. I'm interested to see, like, does he ever come back because of what happened with Franny?
Well, she clearly has a deep connection to that place and is not going to be a stranger.
Oh,
That
God,
was pretty
no.
awesome.
Were you kidding me? That was
I was thinking about this last night, like how wild it is that a WNBA preseason game got so much interest. Like, just imagine telling you like 10 years ago, like, this is going to be a thing in 2025.
And it wasn't even a preseason game. It was an exhibition.
Yeah.
The other team wasn't even a WNBA team. And what a scene. That was really cool.
That frickin' shot she hit was unbelievable.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot more talk about this on Murph and Andy today. I know Keith has a lot to say.
Mackenzie is a huge fan, too. I bet they'll hit it on overthinking. Oh, my God. 𝗙cie�㝗 at the fights. Luckily, the people around us were very patient.
What did he do?
Well, he kept trying to, like, craft up intellectual insults towards the particular fighters he was rooting against.
There's a lot of USA chants. I heard that.
Yeah.
For who?
The Americans.
Were the Americans fighting the foreigners?
Russians.
Yeah, there were a lot of Russians there.
A lot of foreigners? Was someone from the Brazilian women's basketball team fighting that night too?
Well, there was a Brazilian.
No, there
Got
was
his
a
ass
Brazilian in the main event.
Oh.
His knee collapsed in.
Yeah, no, 𝗙cie𝗵𝗃 was just completely out of control with his, like, insults that he was yelling at these people.
Give us one. What did he say? Are they appropriate?
Well, Bo Nickel from Penn State lost, and he started yelling about, like, Joe Paterno.
Oh, my God. Oh, yeah. He sent some weird text to the thread about 𝗀𝗃𝗃 that nobody understood.
It's because the guy who lost was from Penn State.
And he was like a huge favorite, too. It was like a minus 360 or something.
And he lost, so he started raining him with Joe Paterno insults.
It's way too far inside baseball for me.
I just got up and left. It's like, I don't want to be associated with this.
All right,
I should do one more.
question?
Let's do one more. We're getting close to an hour, so let's do one more. Sell the Team says, what's the best moment as a Clone Hawk fan? I guess probably more personally for you guys. What's your best moment? His says, it must be an Iowa State fan. Fiesta Bowl made me realize it's actually possible.
God, that's really hard.
Yeah.
For me, it's still the Iowa State versus Oklahoma State game because I was there and
Yeah.
I was a student, and it was at the time the best one. Probably still is the best.
The one that always stands out the most to me was, and I was covering this one as well, 2009 Marvin McNutt last-second touchdown catch at Michigan State when Iowa was unbeaten, 6-0, 7-0, into the top 10, top 5, and it's the last play of the game. They need this 3-yard touchdown to keep the perfect season alive, and I was right there in that end zone shooting it, and at the time I remember feeling like that was the biggest play in Iowa football history. It didn't end up that way because 𝗪𝗎 got hurt in that Northwestern game, and they couldn't complete the perfect season, but that's the one that always stands out.
This is being put on the spot. I don't know if I would stick with this if I had more time to think about it. But when Iowa State beat Wisconsin in Milwaukee in TJ's first year.
Oh, to go to the Sweet 16?
Yeah. That comes to my head as like just being a really cool moment. Just knowing TJ as long as I have, and being in Milwaukee against Wisconsin, you had Tyrese Hunter, who was the freshman point guard from Wisconsin, from Milwaukee there. It was a really special moment.
What's the worst moment that you've ever experienced as an Iowa State fan? Because you said that 70-foot shot this year
Arizona
by
game
Caleb Love was one of them.
It absolutely was. For me, like maybe the worst I've ever felt, and again, this was a personal thing, and I don't think this would stand, but like, is 2005 Iowa State had to beat Kansas to go to the Big 12 championship game and just completely blew the lead in the fourth quarter.
That was at Kansas, right?
Yeah. And the reason because I lived with football players, like my best friend from like kindergarten was on that team. Like I'm sitting with his family. Like we were all planning to go to Houston or to Dallas or whatever that game was the next week for the Big 12 championship, and just found a way to like piss it away. And it was a horrible, horrible feeling. That would be one of mine off the top of my head.
My worst as an Iowa fan was the 2006 NCAA tournament, the last second loss to Northwestern State when Iowa was
3 seed,
just
right?
rolling. Yeah, they were a 3 seed. They had just won the Big Ten tournament. Carver was as good as I've ever seen it that whole year. And I went to every big home game, covered it for the Quad City station I was working for. And I loved that team. Horner, Bruner, 𝗀𝗏𝗏, Doug Thomas flying through the air and dunking it.
I forgot. Those teams get lost in memory. We don't, you know what I mean? Because everybody kind of tried to bury the Alford thing a little bit, it feels like.
That year was that was my most fun basketball season as an Iowa fan, because they were unbeatable at home, and the Big Ten was great. Just really good teams coming in. Seemed like every weekend. The home schedule was really good. The way it's set up, it seemed like every big game was on a weekend, and it was like Saturday afternoon. But that was heartbreaking, because I thought that team had a real chance to make a run past the Sweet 16.
Good point. I'd have to throw the UAB game into the mix. You bring tournament losses up. Oof.
Yeah,
that was rough. And then Niang's broken foot. God, you broke Aaron Kraft. Now you got this whole thing going on in my head. All these letdowns.
And that wasn't even the question.
I was trying to end on a positive note there, guys.
Jeez. The good thing. You didn't even mention Hampton. That was one of my favorite moments as an Iowa fan, was watching Iowa State lose to Hampton late at night on like a Thursday or Friday. Just knowing how devastating that was for Iowa State fans.
Well, thank you for the mailbag questions. We'll get to more of these. We're saving them all. We'll keep plowing through them here over the next 2 or 3 shows. We appreciate it. May do more of these if you guys like them. It gets us off, so it's not doing. Yeah, it's fun. Gets us to different things. All right. Appreciate our friends at Fareway for sponsoring the show. As always, Van Wink's doing his fantastic production. We have Overthinking with Mackenzie and Scott coming up at noon. Murph and Andy will be live as well. 1 o'clock here on Iowa Everywhere.